Hello, everyone. Welcome to another session of DataHour series. We will be starting in a couple of minutes. Till then, let's get to know each other, starting from your location, that is, from the country you are joining this session, followed by the experience level you guys are having in data science field. So, all right, I'm sharing two polls here. First one is regarding the location of you guys, and the other one is regarding the experience level you guys having in the field, and which I really expect everyone to engage with. So do fill in the poll, guys. Thank you for your engagement over the poll. And now moving ahead in the session, Analytics Vidhya welcome you all in another session in the Data Hour series. We are thrilled to be here with you this evening for such an adventurous session with interactive learning. I am Shresht, part of data science team at Analytics Vidhya, and I will be the moderator for this session. For those who joined us for the very first time, a brief introduction about the Data Hour series. The Data Hour is a series of sessions conducted by Analytics Vidhya, led by top industry experts, and it's a really fun way to understand the concepts of data science from the leading players in the data tech domain. And as the name suggests itself, it's 1 hour totally dedicated to data. So now on to our today's session, which is SQL, one of the key ingredients for data science, as you all know. There is no better way than learning SQL for anyone pursuing to get into the world of data science. SQL is considered not only among the most in-demand skill for data professionals, but it also serves as a starting point for moving towards through valuable tech skills. So let's join Udipta in this data hour as she takes a deep dive into SQL as a key ingredient of data science. And before we move ahead, it's just an important note for you guys. We are recording this session, and this session is also being streamed live on YouTube, for which you can get the link in the chat section in a couple of minutes. And please use Q&A section for asking your queries. you might have during the session, and we will do our best to answer them as the data hour progresses towards the end. And last but not the least, we will be sharing a feedback poll towards the end of the session, which I request you all to participate in. And now to our today's speaker, it's Udipta Sharma with us. Presently, she is working as a freelance data science trainer associated with reputed educational institutes. Vidhya is having 5 years of experience as data analyst in corporate and 4 years experience as a data science trainer. Her competencies are Excel, VBA, Google Sheet, Excel for statistics, Power BI, Tableau, SQL Server, Python, which is fantastic. So over to you, Udipta. The virtual stage is all yours.
Thank you a lot, Shresh, for this welcoming introduction. And I really welcome you all for this wonderful session. I hope it goes out really well. It's very nice to see all of you participating in the poll. And most importantly, like this is something going to, just a minute, guys. Okay, so I hope everybody can hear me. Okay, fine. So basically, today here we are to get into the, some basics, because as this is our first session, so I want you all to know what is basically SQL and what deep dive into the basic concepts of SQL, beyond which we will be learning how to use those SQL queries in a platform, okay, which is SSMS Studio, where I'll show you how to do this. And let me tell you, SQL is not a very hardcore, kind of programming language. Many people might think that SQL is kind of a language where, everybody will have to have a hardcore experience on this. No, not at all. Because when I started learning SQL, that is not from my, though I'm a BTech in computer science, but it has nothing to do with BTech computer science, honestly, because I have learned SQL only after that. And trust me, it's kind of a very, easy to learn programming language. I can say one of the most easiest to learn programming languages. When you'll be learning this language, I'm sure you'll be able to understand that it's just a normal English language that we generally use in our day-to-day lives. Yeah, so it won't be very hard for you to learn. Only some keywords will be there, which will be, obviously, if you're learning some language, there will be some keywords which we have to use. Other than that, all the queries that I'll be showing you today, or else in the furthermore sessions, then it will be completely based on simple English language. Okay. So also kindly go through the analytics with they are sharing you some information time to time. So you can just have a look and get you informated. Okay. So basically, first of all, today my whole idea is first to tell you all I'll showcase you in the form of a presentation, okay, SQL, and beyond that, what are the basic things you have to know before you dive into the queries of SQL learning, okay. After that, I'll be showing you the platform where we all write the SQL queries, okay, and then I'll show you, how to, create a table and get the queries done. Basically, why you're using SQL, that is important. If you know, SQL means what we also call, some people call it as SQL, some people call it as SQL, okay? It's all the same thing, okay? It's structured query language. So basically, we use this kind of language to extract the data from a database, okay? So database, as you know, I'll show you that in a few minutes, in a few couple of seconds, I must say. So I'll make you show the presentation overall. But before that, I just want to tell you, just SQL is basically important in data science to extract the data from a whole bunch of data that you have, okay? Let's say you're using your Facebook, you're using Instagram, right? These are very two common things that we use day-to-day lives, right? Also WhatsApp. There are many things that we use, but the thing is that we have at least some idea that, per day, the number of clicks that we make And per day, like us, there are thousands and millions of people who use the same app at the same time, right? Though they might be using in a different way. We are using in a different way, right? But the thing is that, in per click, that is a data, right? So let's say you are tapping something or you are posting a pic on your Instagram. So that is a data that is converted to data already. So there are lakhs and billions and trillions of data that is stored and that is produced each and every second or each and every minute, you can say, yeah, in a day. So you can imagine how many data is produced in a day in that sort. So like that, there will be huge and trillions of data in our database of Instagram. So if you imagine that you have to analyze some data because you have to get some data out of it, okay? So is it possible that you have to see all the data all at once and get the insights all of a sudden? It's not possible, right? Because we are a human, and data will be presented in a form of numbers, in a form of some characters or letters, something like that. And for us to get the data that we exactly want from that whole bunch of data, it's not possible. For that, what we do, we have this particular concept called SQL, which is a language, and which is a language which is very much comfortable and very much in keen with the database concepts, right? So this language is kind of a mediator between the user. User means we, which who we want to get the data, and between the server or the database, like it from where we want it. Like from the Instagram database, we want that kind of data. So it's kind of interaction between the Instagram database and between us, okay? So SQL plays a very vital role here. So for all these things, SQL is a very important concept, especially when you're diving into data science field, our data analytics field. So data science and data analytics is not very different. So if you say, if you are in a data analytics field or you are pursuing to go in a data analytics field, so that is a career path for you to go for data scientist field. Yeah. So basically what we can say that let's say what we can say, like in data analysis, there are some analysis. What you perform some data, we work on some data, and then you perform some calculations, some analysis, some kind of this raw data will be converted into meaningful information. For all these things, we use this data analysis thing. But for data science field, that's another pathway beyond it, where we do another higher sort of calculations, higher sort of analysis. But both of these fields are doing the same thing, okay? So now when we are going into the data, so basically the kind of people who are able to cope up with this thing are basically two requirements, okay? First one is the people who wanted to come into the data science field or data analytics field. And secondly are the people who are into the data, yeah? Who are keen to know about playing with the data in different angles or different perspectives. So these two are the requirements. If you have some keen passion about data, then this is a correct way, and this is a correct path of learning SQL, okay? So now let me share my screen and show you the PPT here. I hope everybody can see.
Yeah, it's visible.
Okay, fine. So fine. So okay. So as we're learning SQL, so SQL stands for Structured Query Language. So as the name suggests, structured query language. So it is a language which is completely structured. Structured means what? It's completely in the form of a good form, intact form. And query means what? Query is nothing but just a kind of a you can say a direction, yeah? Or you can say kind of a query means what? We are giving a query to the database. That means what? We are instructing the database to give us that particular data. So it's kind of an instruction, okay? And language is language. You can say it's a programming language. Yes, it is a programming language. But as I told you, it's not that hardcore programming language that you have to have some prerequisite knowledge about it. It's completely fine, even if you're completely new to it. because the things I'm going to share here, you'll be very much interested, and let's go for it one by one. So this is a structured query language. Just a second. Okay, so basically the first thing I want to say you about the database, because as we are dealing with structured query language, so as I told you, it's all because of a database. From a database, we can collect data and fetch it for ourselves. Database is nothing but it's just an organized collection of data stored in an electronic format. Electronic format, as I mean to say, is not in a kind of a paper that we usually write like manually, in a form of papers, notebooks, or textbooks like that. But that particular thing can be stored in an electronic format in our local systems, right? Like in a form of notepad, in a Word document, yeah, in a WordPad or something like that, where it can be easily stored in a system and we can retrieve it whenever you want to in just a click of a button, yeah? So organized collection of data stored in an electronic format is called database. Organized collection means what? The data is stored in an organized format. That means most of us must have seen that there are two kinds of data storage, okay? So one is unorganized and one is organized. Unorganized means what? That data doesn't have any complete, in any form. There is no form of data. It's just a, random form of data. Like say, I can say you about a music video, okay? I can say you about your pictures, like any videos, audio videos, or video clippings, yeah, anything. So that data is an unorganized form of data because that data doesn't have anything in it, just is the form of a picture or graphics or audio that we can see, right? Beyond that, how the data is looking, we cannot see that, right? So that is an unorganized or semi-organized form of data, you can say. Another form of data is called organized form of data, where the data is stored in a form of rows and columns. So rows and columns, I mean to say in a tabular form, yeah? So they will have a proper heading structure. A simple heading, there will be all sorts of one category of data like that. I'll tell you what it is all about. But organized collection means in an organized form, yeah? So with this electronic format of storing data, we can easily access data, manipulate data, and update data. So from the database, what we are looking for is to access the data. Yeah, without accessing, we cannot even manipulate the data or we can update the data. So manipulate means we can play with the data. Once we access the data, we fetch our data, right? So we can perform any sort of analysis that we can do, starting from some calculations, starting from converting that particular data in some other form, yeah, or else like that. And updating data means what? Whatever data is present in the database already, we have already fetched it, but we need to change some of the data, some of the contents of the data, what we have already, yeah. So for that thing, we use that update, yeah. Update means generally changing the contents of the data. Manipulating means playing with the data in different forms, like some calculations for some analysis like that. And accessing data means to get the access of the data overall from the database, okay? Now we have DBMS. DBMS means what? Database, as I told you, is a whole collection of data. But that whole collection of data, where does it get stored? It gets stored in a software known as DBMS, which is Database Management System. As the name suggests itself, it's a database management system. So all the database that we have with us are stored inside this software. So what it is called as? It is a system software for creating and managing databases. Yeah. So if you have Instagram, Facebook, yeah, trillions and nano trillions or whatever trillions of data we have. So all the data, all that particular database of the particular site or the particular app is stored inside a particular database management system. Okay. So there are two types of database architecture. So basically, how the database management system, that is a DBMS, is processed to us is of two types. One is file server and one is the client server. File server is the one where the files are located in the local system. Local system is the system that you're working on. Your laptop, your desktop, even your phone is also your local system. Okay. changes made in the original source will not be reflected in the destination. So let's say suppose you are using some data in your laptop, okay, another friend of yours is using data in his or her own laptop. Okay, now if you want to transfer your some files from your local system to his or her local system, then you have transferred. But the thing is that the original source is from your system, right? It's not from their system, because you are transferring your data from your local system to their local system. So the changes that you make in your local system, in that particular file that you have shared with your friend, will not be reflected in your friend's local system. Yeah. Therefore, the local system or server acts as a storage system. Only one person can access the system at a time. Yeah. So that means what? The file architecture of DBMS, that means what it does, that means it connects two systems together. One system acts as a source, another system acts as a destination. Yeah. So the source system, from where the file is built and it is transferred to the destination system. So inside the source system, whenever there is some changes made into the file, so that is not reflected in the destination system. And if that person wants to see what are the changes that is made to that file, so he have to go to the source system. Yeah. So this is one way of communicating between transfer of files. This is called the file server architecture. Another is the client server architecture. So client server architecture is basically the most popular form of file distribution or file sharing kind of a thing, because here what happens, so there is a single server, okay, who takes requests. Server means what? Don't take it in a very technical way. It's kind of a system only. So you can just imagine as a single system, that is, there is a single system who takes requests from many local systems at the same time, and it sends to database, and database receives and sends the information to all the systems at the same time. That means what we can convey from this is, like say my system is having all the sorts of data. Okay, so let's say the server, which we call as a server, the server is nothing but that is also a system where, let's say, you are searching the website, let's say Amazon or Flipkart or something, right? And from there you want to shop something, like say sunglasses or some dresses, like that. So at the same time, not only you, there will be thousands of people in this world, across the world, who might search the same product at the same time. Yeah, across the globe. So in that case, what will happen? Those other systems along with your system, yeah. So you all will be termed as the local systems, and the server will be one from where you want to fetch it. That is the Amazon or the Flipkart website. Yeah. So that will be the server system, and the people who are fetching the same data at the same time, okay, on the same website. So that website will be giving it to the database of the through the request, whatever request you are throwing. That is, you want the sunglasses or collection from it, or else you want the dress collection from it. So your request will be shown to the database server of this Amazon or Flipkart, and in return, the database will read it and it will throw back the all the queries that you wanted. Queries means all the instructions that you have given to Amazon or Flipkart. That database of Amazon or Flipkart will get it, receive it, and they will give you back the all the contents associated with it. Yeah, like that, you are connected with the you are the client, and the server will be the one who is handling the database of Flipkart and the Amazon. So this is a to and fro communication. Yeah. So what we have learned from here, file server system is kind of only one source and one destination, and only one person can access at a time. Yeah. And client server system is a multiple source, local system destination. So it's like one source can be taken, will take instructions from multiple local systems, and will be delivering the same kind of information to all the systems at the same time. Yeah. So basically, we generally use the client server system of architecture only. Yeah. So these are the two things. Now we can go for the next thing, which is called SQL, for which we are here today. So SQL is a standard structured query language. Yeah.
Sorry for the interruption, but can you please zoom in your slide as few people are not able to like see it fully.
Okay, just a minute. Is it fine?
Yeah, but it's like showing half of your screen and top half is like getting grayed out.
Okay, just a minute.
Try slideshow, I guess.
I tried it. I actually tried, but I think it's now is it showing properly?
Yeah, now it's perfect.
Okay, now it's perfect. Okay. Sorry for this, people. There was something. Okay. Okay, I just saw just now the Q&A. Sorry for that. Okay. So I hope now it's clear for everyone to see nicely. Okay, so let's go ahead. Okay. So what I was talking about is SQL. What is SQL? So SQL is a standard language for accessing and manipulating databases. So as I told you, accessing means grabbing and fetching the data from the database, and manipulating means what we can do with the help of the data, yeah, according to our own requirements. So there are four categories of SQL commands. So structured query language is basically, you can say in other words, I can tell you, it's just a mediator between the database and you. Yeah, whatever you are throwing to what instructions you're throwing to the database, it'll give you that particular data that you want from that. And that instruction is called SQL, that is structured query language, the language that only the database understands. So we have to, when we have to communicate with somebody, you are communicating with any of your friend who is not having your own language. He is from different language, yeah? So we have to communicate in the form of his language, right? To communicate. So in that case, same way, so when you're communicating with database, so you have to understand his language first, right? So that language is called structured query language. And the queries that we make in the structured query language, those are the instructions that the database understands. And based on those instructions, it gives us the required details that we want, okay? So there are four categories of SQL commands, okay? So first one is data query language. Second one is data definition language. Third one is data manipulation language. And fourth one is data control language. So all of these languages have different roles to play, yeah? Data query language means what? Query means, as I told you, it's kind of an instruction that you give, okay? So these are some of the keywords, basically, what I have written here. Select. Select means this is a keyword that we'll be using in our queries to get our data. For data definition language means what? Definition means we are creating. That means we will be giving a definition to data. That means if we have to create a table, yeah. So for that reason, this definition language is used, and we have to use this particular keywords there, right? Create, alter, drop, all these things. Data manipulation language means after fetching the data, whatever we want to do with the data, we can do with the help of these. And those queries will have these three things: insert, update, and delete, okay? And last but not the least, data control language. Data control language is basically used whenever we have to give access to people whom we want to share the data. Not everybody can see our data because data fetching from the database is very sensitive. Yeah, not every people have the accessible rights to see the data because that data is very sensitive, and once it goes to the wrong hand, so that data might be corrupted or interrupted or manipulated in various ways, which is not good. It's kind of a threat. So to avoid that, we use the data control language, which is grant and revoke. We use two words there, grant and revoke. Grant means to give permission to the people who wants to get the rights for our data, and revoke means to take back those rights from the people, yeah, whom we don't want to share our data. So these are the things that we have. So the next one is, just a minute. Okay. So now comes the table. As I told you that structured query language means what? When the query, when the data is stored, database is what? Where the data is stored in a structured form. So table is a way of structure, putting the data in a very structured manner. Table is nothing, but it's just a kind of a, I hope you know what's a table, but even if you don't know, it's kind of intersection of rows and columns, yeah, that I think everybody have used Excel in some way or the other in some part of your life, yeah. So there you have seen that, you know, or you have seen data in your day-to-day life also, where the data is a form of a table, right, in the form of rows and columns. So rows means the vertical ones, the horizontal ones, sorry, where we have all the records of a particular person or a particular thing, and columns are the vertical ones where we have the category description of each and every item that we have in the particular database. Yeah. So you can see what is a table. It is a database object which comprises of rows and columns. Okay. So there are two things in a table. One is the record and one is the field. Record is generally synonymous to rows. And rows, as I told you, are the horizontal, lines that we have for each and every, let's say we have employee table, yeah. So if we have an employee database, and in the employee database, we have the employee names, we have the date of births, we have their salary, their age, their gender, all these things. So all these things comes under fields. Fields means columns, okay. That means name, salary, gender, all these are categories of data, right? They are not data, but they are categories of data. So categories of data are stored in the form of vertical lines known as fields or columns. And records are what? Records are just the horizontal records of the table. That is, let's say the employee name is A, okay? Then that employee name and regarding that employee, his name, his age, his salary, his gender, all these things that is recorded inside the table. So that particular employee and his particular details of all his details. So that particular row of his is called a record, okay? So that is called a row and column. And that is how a table is organized form of data, we can say, yeah? So next comes your data warehouse and data mart. So why this particular thing is important? This is actually not practically used in your SQL, but yeah, data warehouse and data mart is important in some way, just to know the concept of how the data is fetched in SQL. So if I say you, this I have given you a difference, but let me tell you this in the form of a day-to-day scenario. Let's say you are working in any organization, right? So if you're working in any organization, that particular organization is not alone an organization. It consists of different, departments like sales department, HR department, operations department, yeah, and many departments are there, to name a few. So each and every department, if we consider singly or individually, so those departments are called data mart. Okay, data mart is nothing but individual sections of the whole company. Okay, that is called data mart. And data warehouse will be what? The whole company, including all the departments together, is called a data warehouse. Okay, so data warehouse is the whole data which comprises of all the departments' data. Okay, but data mart is individual departments of that particular company, okay, taken in individual slots. So let's say there are some differences between this data mart and data warehouse, okay. Okay, let me just read. There are some few messages or something. Okay. Also, I just want to make a thing clear here that we will be having at least 15 minutes or 10 minutes of a session after the session ends. So we'll have a buffer of 10 to 15 minutes, and that 10 to 15 minutes will be on your Q&A session. Okay. So after I give my delivery of this particular SQL session today, you can ask me any number of questions that you all want to. Okay. Okay. Now comes your difference between data mart and data warehouse. So as I told you, data mart is nothing but it's a department-wise data. So as I told you that whole company individually, each and every department is considered as a data mart, and data warehouse is what? Enterprise-wise data. That means it is considered to be the whole company, including all the departments together. So data mart, single subject area, because we are considering single subject altogether. Single subject means here we can say a single individual, department we can say, and data warehouse is multiple subject area, because that we are considering the whole company. So under that, all the data of all the departments are taken into account. And data mart, limited data source. Why is limited data source? Because we are considering one thing at a time. But in data warehouse, multiple data source, because we are considering many things at the same time. And in data mart, we occupies limited memory, and in data warehouse occupies large memory. When there is limited data source, of course, the number of space needed for that particular data to be stored will be less. Similarly, for data warehouse, the data is too long, too large, because it's handling multiple data sources, so it needs a larger memory. And in data mart, it's shorter time to implement. Why? Because as the data is small compared to data warehouse, so it takes a shorter time to implement the data. Whereas in data warehouse, the data is too heavy because it considers all of the thing at the same time, so it takes longer time to implement. So this is just a concept that we have in our DBMS concept. So that's called data mart and data warehouse. So that's what I wanted to tell you. Hi, Prakash. Hi. Okay. How many days for this session for? I will just answer all of your questions at the end of this session. Just give me some time. Let me just complete it. I'll definitely answer all of your questions. Don't worry at all. Okay. So let's go for the next thing. Okay. Now comes the data type. SQL queries. Okay, so these are the very two important things that you have to know. One is data types and one is data constraints. Data types are nothing but they define what type of a data a column can hold. Suppose let's say, again, I'm taking the example of the employee table here. Okay, suppose you are writing inside the employee table, you have that column name, where the name is at the header, and you have to write all the names of the employees. So in that case, what kind of data you have to put on that particular name column? Obviously, you have to put the text data, right? Because all the data will be in the form of letters, not numbers. So anything that we write in the form of letters or alphabets, all these are known as text data. And let's say another column, age. Okay, age of the employees. There we will be entering the ages of all the employees, but the ages of all the employees will be in the form of digits, numbers, right? So that particular data will be taken as integer. Okay, because that is a whole number. So we, in case of whole number where there is no decimal places, that is called whole number, and that is called an integer in numerical form of SQL. Okay, so that is an integer data type. And in name, as I told you, as we are dealing with only text and alphabets, and characters, so these are known as text data type. Okay, so you can see there are three categories of data types: numerical, character, and date and time. Okay, so let's say your date of birth of the employees or date of joining of the employees, that will come, all the data under those two columns will be in the form of date and time data type. If not time, obviously that will be a date data type. And let's say if you consider your salary. Okay, the salary never comes in a form of whole number. It comes in a form of decimal number, floating number, like that. So in that case, we can use the decimal data type from the numerical data type, this thing, category. Okay, so data types are nothing but basically these are the how the data is written inside each and every column of a table. That is called data types. Arijit, it's absolutely true that data mart is a subset of data warehouse. Exactly. Okay. Okay. So now comes the next thing. So numerical data type, character data type, and date and time data type we have already told. So I hope you have got some idea about data types, right? Data types are nothing, but we just enter what kind of data we have to enter in a particular column, that is called a data type. Okay, that's it. Now we go for the next thing, which is called the data constraints. As I told you, these two are the most important thing while considering our SQL queries. Yeah. So one is data type and one is data constraint. So if you go for a constraint, what are constraints? So constraints are basically rules that we specify for the data inside the table. So rules means what? We give some kind of instructions that for the particular column of the data, yeah. So we need some instructions. Let's say there are 5 types of constraints. So when you learn about these 5 types of constraints, you will exactly come to know that what type of rules are we following. Let's say not null. There are 5 types of constraints in SQL. Constraints are nothing, but they are kind of set of rules that we give inside the table, which we are creating, okay? Not null constraint means what? It ensures that a column cannot have a null value. Null value means what? Empty value. Suppose, let's say I have given this not null constraint in my name column. That means whenever I'm writing names inside the name column, yeah, and suppose by mistakenly I have skipped 1 or 2 names to enter, yeah. So in that case, it will give me a kind of a threat, or it can give me kind of a warning that I have done some mistake. And that mistake is nothing but it's the not null constraint. That means I cannot leave any blank spaces in my name column. Okay, that means not null constraint will avoid giving any empty spaces in your name column. Okay, and default constraint means what? Let's say you are entering your department, okay, which department you're working. You're entering your department and all the employees departments you're writing inside the department column. So in that case, what will happen? Let's say in a particular time you have skipped 1 or 2 employees departments. Okay, you have forgot to enter those departments of those employees. So what will happen? You have to specify a default department name, so that whenever you skip and writing any department name of any employee, so that default name will be automatically inserted, yeah, whenever you skip it. It will not be left as blank, but the default name will be immediately captured and be entered inside the department column. Okay, now comes a unique. Unique means what? It ensures that all the data inside a particular column is unique. That means there is no repetition or there is no duplication of values inside the column, okay, that you are dealing with. It can be your name column, your salary column, your gender column cannot have unique constraint. There also you have to keep in mind that on which columns you can give your unique constraints. Gender column cannot have a unique constraint because there are only 2 types of gender, right? Male and female. So if you give unique constraint, then you have to give many gender categories, which we don't have. Generally have 2 categories only. So that's why we can't give that unique constraint to the gender column. Okay, let's say. And what is primary key? Primary key is nothing but that specifically signifies that whenever that key is applied to any column, so that column signifies the overall details of that particular employee. Okay, that is called primary key. And check means what? Check means nothing. That is a kind of a rule that we give to a particular column. Let's say I want to enter only those employees whose age is greater than 30. Okay, so that means anything if I enter whose age is less than 30 will not be entertained, will not be captured in the data that we are dealing with. So if we write the check constraint that the age is greater than 30, there only those employees' names will be captured whose name age will be entered as 30 or above 30. Yeah, not less than 30. So these are some kind of constraints and rules that we have to keep in mind while we make our data inside a data warehouse. Okay. What do data marts and data warehouse use to store the data, just like database or MySQL, something else? Yeah, data marts and data warehouse, both are used to store the data, but in the form that I told you, the data marts are taken as an individual individual items, and data warehouse is a collection of those items all together. Yeah, so both are used to store the data, but in different forms. Okay, so this is the end of our presentation. So we can move towards the SSMS Studio, where we'll be writing our queries. I'll show you that. Also, I'll give an attachment of that particular how to install the SSMS Studio in your system. You can install it and practice it. Yeah, so I'll be sharing that. Let me just open it. Okay. So, I hope everybody can see the screen properly.
Yes, Sudipta.
Okay. So this is the SSMS Studio, which we generally call as SQL Server Management Studio. Here what we do, here we try to write all the queries that we want to fetch from a database that we have, okay? So basically here we can do two things. One is to create our own tables with manually using the queries. Another is to import files directly from our local system and put it up here. Okay, so I'll show you both the ways how to fetch the data from a database. Yeah, but before that, as I told you, we cannot write the tables, we cannot create the tables unless and until we create a database, because as I told you, a database is the one who is storing all the data, right? So the data will be in the form of organized collection of information, which is called tables. That's what we have learned till now, right? So that's what we're going to implement here. So just a second. Yeah, so I'm keeping all these things. I'm seeing all these things. Okay. I'll be telling you all the queries in the Q&A section. I've seen all the queries. I'll be answering all of you. Don't worry. Just give me a few minutes of time. I'll be delivering all my your queries back to back. Okay, I'll not leave anything. And just give me a few minutes. So first, let me complete this session, and we'll definitely have this session. Yeah. Okay. Q&A. Okay. So let's say, so this is a particular SSMS Studio, okay, where you can see you in the left-hand corner, you can see this is the Object Explorer, where you can see the desktop version, which desktop you are using for the SQL Server. The desktop version will be written here along with the SQL Server version that you're using, and along with that you can see the database. Yeah, whatever databases we're creating, you'll be seeing in this database section. We have the security, server, objects, replication, all these things we have here. But basically what we are trying to do is we are trying to create databases now, okay? And now for that, you can see this blank space here. So when we have to write a query, we cannot use the blank space. We have to make it a page where we can write. So to create that page, we have to go to this new query. Okay, so I click on this new query. So this will turn out, come out to be a white colored of page. Yeah. So you can see this. This is a page. This is a kind of a query. So this is not a page, we can say. This is kind of a query. And if we want to add some more page to this SSMS Studio, we can again go to this new query, and again one new page will be open. So these are the pages where we can write our queries and we can fetch our data from. Okay, so let's say before that, as I told you, first we have to know how to create a database, because from that database we'll be fetching our data. So as of now, if you see in this database, if I click on this plus symbol, that means this databases will be open. Yeah, this will be elongated. You can see this particular red, black color cylindrical type of a symbol. So this is nothing but this is the database name. Okay, so I have just created a database known as sample here. Nothing is there as of now, but it's just an empty database. Okay, so this black color cylindrical object is called the database. Under this database, if I click on this plus symbol again, so this database will get elongated, and under this you can see what are the tables I have created in this table section. Yeah, because database is a collection of whole lot of data, and that data is stored in an organized way in the form of tables. Under that database, there will be tables, right, from where we will fetch our data. So all the tables that we make under this sample database, yeah, so that will be stored in this table section. If I click on this plus symbol in the table section, here we'll be seeing all the tables that we have made, but as of now we have not made any tables, so it's not seen. So let me show you again how to create a database first. That's more important. Yeah, so to create a database, we can use our first query, which is called create. Okay, as I told you that SQL is a very kind of an English language. It's not kind, it's just an English language. So we don't have to bother about much how to write it. We just have to know the, what English words you have to use to construct that particular SQL query. Okay, so let's say I want to create a database. So basically in English also, when we have to create something, we write create this thing, right? Similarly for this also, we have to write create. Then as we are creating a database, we have to write database, and then we have to write the name of the database that we want to create. I've already created this sample database, so I won't be writing sample. I'll be using a different database name. And remember, when we write a database name, it's not case sensitive. That means even if you write it in small letters or capital letters, it doesn't really matter. Okay, so let's say I'm writing here master data. Okay, so this is my let's say my database. Okay, so this is my create database master data. That means I'm creating a database whose name is master data. Okay, so this is my query. So how we have to run this query to get this master data visible in this database section. So I have to simply select this whole query all at once. Yeah, and then I have to click on this execute. So once you created a query, okay, and when you run a query, that means I've selected this whole query that I have written and I've clicked on this execute. That means I have run this query. That means what? This particular master data has been now created. This database has been created. And now how can you see this master data? I can simply click on this refresh button. In this Object Explorer section, you can see everything, what database you have created, under what database you have created, how many tables that you can see, right? So you can just have to click on this refresh button. Once you click it, then your updated things will be shown. Now, again, if I click on this database, this plus symbol, you can see now master data database has been created. Yeah. Always remember how the database looks like. It looks like the cylindrical, black cylindrical object. Okay, that is the database. And now when we have created this database, now it's time for us to use this database. Okay, how to use this database? The second step is to use the database. I can simply write here use, and then I'll write again master data. So I don't have to write master data again and again, because once this database is created, you can easily see this is visible here. So even if I write MAS also, it's visible here. You can double click this, so you don't have to write the whole name again. So again, if you have to use this master data, you have to again select this whole thing and click on execute. Every time when you're writing a SQL query, so you make sure you have to select that and you click on execute. Without executing, that particular thing will not run. Okay, it will not give you the result. So that means what? I have created this particular master data database. I have now used this particular master data database, and now I can insert or create tables, okay, inside it. Okay, and let's say I want to delete some database from here. Let's say I want to delete this sample database from here. I don't want this sample database. How can I do that? I can just click on, I can just write drop database and the name of the database, which is sample. Okay, so drop means what? It removes all the data. It removes everything, the existence of the particular database or the particular tables inside the database. Everything will get vanished from the system using this drop command. Okay, So when I just want to drop the database sample, that means what? This sample database now is completely dropped. I want to remove it. So I'll just select this particular thing and I click on execute. So you can see command successfully completed. So whenever there is no error in your query, okay, whenever you're writing a query and you can run this, and whenever there is no any error in your query, so it will show you commands completed successfully. Okay. After that, when you just refresh it again, because I have dropped this database sample, yeah, so the sample database will be removed from the system completely. So I'll just refresh it. Now again, when I go back to this plus symbol, you can see the sample database is not there. It has gone away. Now only this master database is there, which we have just created just now. Now we can simply use this use master data. Okay, so this particular database that we have created, we can use it again. Now what I want to do is, after creating this database, I have to insert the table inside it. Yeah, because I have to write the data also along with it. Without the data, I cannot fetch any data right from there. So to enter the data, we have to use in the form of rows and columns. That is in the form of a table, as I told you, because a database in SQL Server only manages all the data in the form of table, which is in the form of rows and columns. So to create a table, we have to use again the word create. Okay, and now we are creating a table. So we have to name create table, and the table name. What table name we want exactly? Which is, let's say, employee. Okay, this is my table name. Okay, and after that, when I have to run my, this is the table I have created, but I have not created the rows and columns that I want from here. Okay, so first I have to initiate the column names, the headings, which I want to state in my that table, employee table. So for that, I have to mention now. Let's say my first column name in a table employee will be, let's say, ID of the employees. Yeah, and IDs are generally in whole number. It's not in decimal number or anything. So as I told you, the three categories of data types, that is numerical data types, character data types, and date and time data types. So it will fall under the numerical data types, as IDs are always in the form of digits, right? So if I have to write in digits and it is a non-decimal number, right? So we have to take the integer, that is the integer data type, which is int. Okay, this is the data type, and this is the column name, which is ID. Okay, int am I audible, everyone?
Yes, Vidhya, you're audible.
My connection got disrupted for a few seconds. Sorry for that. Okay. So I'm sharing the screen again. Okay. So here what I'm trying to do is, I want to create my first column, which is employee ID column. So I've written the name of the column name, the data type of the column name. Okay. And then I have to write the constraint that I want to keep. If I have to make any constraint in this particular column, I can write the constraint. If I don't want to put any constraint, it's up to us. Okay, constraint, as I told you, was the rule that I want to put in a particular column. So if I want my constraint to be not add any empty values inside the ID column, so I have to give the constraint as not null. Yeah, that's what I showed you just now. So ID, the column name, the data of the column name, okay, and the constraint, which is not null. Okay, this is my first thing. I'll give a comma here. Second, I enter the second column name now. Second column name, let's say I'm taking here the name of the employee. And here, as it is a name, we are dealing with letters, alphabets. Yeah, so it is a text data type. Yeah, so for text data type, we'll be using char or varchar. Okay, but varchar data type is what? When the text length is too long, because your name not necessarily will always be short, it can be long also, because in a particular organization many employees work, so some employees will have shorter names, some employees will have longer names. So it depends on us how we make it happen. So in that case I have to use the varchar. Whenever any string is concerned or anything related, sorry, my laptop is again getting disrupted. Sorry for that. Okay. So whenever anything is related to alphabets or text, okay, we write this varchar. Okay, remember this. So varchar means nothing but when there is multiple size of your text. That means some names can be longer, some names can be shorter length. Yeah, so we use this varchar, and inside it we also have to mention some size. What size we want to keep it for this names. Okay, so let's say if I size of, then 10 size will be kept for names. Okay, for any names we write, 10 size will be kept inside the database for that. Okay, if I write as 15 also, 20 also, is up to you how much you want to write. It depends. Okay, so let's say I'm keeping as 15, let's say. So that means what? Any name that I write inside this name column, so that name, every name will be capturing that 15 size of data inside the database. Okay, so that's why I've given, because with varchar you have to mention the size of the data that you want to store. Okay, after that what you have to do after that, again, if you want to make any constraint here also, you can keep, or if you don't want, you can just, here I don't want any constraint, so I'll just leave it blank. Okay, I don't want any rule in this particular name column. Again, I'll go to the next one. Let's say I'm going for the salary column. Okay, so salary again will we can take it as float, we can take it as decimal, we can take it as integer. So float and decimal is almost the same thing. That is, it will come in the form of decimal number. But if I put it as integer, it comes a whole number. It's up to us how we keep it. Okay. So let's say I'm keeping as integer only. Okay. And then what I want is, I want that here also I don't want any constraint to enter, because salary is something where we don't want any constraint, because salary can be of any salary size, starting from 10,000, 20,000, 50,000, 80,000, 1 lakh. It can be of any salary size of any employees, right? So there is no bar. So that's why I'll not put any constraint here. So just the name of the column and the data type. Okay, this thing you just have to remember. First the name of the column you have to mention, then the data type, and then the constraint if you want to engage any constraint here. Okay, and next comes here, let's say I'm keeping one more, age of the employee. Again, age is the whole number, it's not a decimal number. Again, I'll keep it as integer data type. Okay, again, then comes your gender. Gender is a text, of course, it's not a number. Male and female, all these are written in alphabets, right? So it is considered as a text. So we can take it as a varchar. And the size will be fixed here, right? Because male and female, it won't get extended to other something more characters. So let's keep it okay. Small size, because male and female are very short words. We won't take much size to capture it. So we'll just keep it as 10. You can take it as 5 also, it's up to you. I'm just keeping it as a buffer of 10. Okay. And after that, I'm taking one more, let's say department. Okay. And department is also a character, right? The text, because departments are never written in the form of numbers. So it is also a variant. So here the department's name can be the heavier word, operation is a heavier word, HR is a smaller word. Okay, so it depends. The variability increases from department name. So here we're giving a department of, let's say I'm keeping a, so the department name can be small, right? So it's 20 size, and then one more. Okay, now comes the primary key constraint. As I told you, primary key constraint is
I guess Sudipta is having some network issues, guys. So we should wait for her till she reconnects.
Am I audible, everybody?
Yeah, Udipta, now you're audible.
Now, actually, sorry for this. There are some network issues going on. I really don't know. Sorry for that, guys. Okay, so I'm saying about the primary key now. So primary, is my screen visible? It's okay, right? Okay. So what I'm saying here is the primary key ID I have taken. So ID is the column that I've taken as a primary key. Why? Because I only take that column name as a primary key where only fetching that column name, I can get all the details of that particular thing. That means if I fetch only ID of the particular column employee of that particular ID of that particular employee, then all the details of that employee will be shown to me all at a while. Okay. For that reason, I keep this as a primary key. That means, let's say here, ID, name, salary, age, gender, department. In all common here, that is the ID. Okay. That is what ID will be different for each and every employees, but name can be same for some of the employees. Salary can be same for some of the employees. Yeah, age can be same for some of the employees, and gender, departments, all these things can be same, but ID cannot be same for any employees, right? So in this case, that's why I take primary key as ID, because ID is an unique identification for each and every employees. That's why when you take the primary key constraint, kindly note that you should only enter that column name of the particular table where only each and every item of that particular table is unique, okay, can uniquely identified. So name, salary, age, gender, departments, those things cannot be uniquely identified because many people can have the same thing. But in case of ID, that is not same for everybody. Every ID of every employee is unique. Yeah, that's why we take primary key as ID. So once all these things has been done, we can just close the bracket and click on semicolon. Okay. And semicolon is mandatory also, not mandatory also. In some cases, you can use semicolon to finish each and every query. After ending each and every query, you can put a semicolon. Even if you don't put a semicolon, it's fine. Here I have put a semicolon, and now let's see when I run this particular create table employee. So this is the whole query of writing the table. Yeah, I have not entered any details here. I have just made the table. Okay, when I just execute it, you can see this command has successfully done. So now if I want to see this particular table employee inside my master data database, how can I see that? Using this master data, again, I will go here. I'll just click on this refresh. Okay, then I'll go to database. And here in the master data, I click on this plus symbol. Inside this master data, if I go to this tables option, click on this plus sign, you can see this DBO.employee. That means DBO means database object. So every table inside the database is considered as a database object. Okay. And the name of the object, that is name of the table, is employee. So this is created right now. Now, if I want to see how my table is looking like, so I can do that using the select statement. As I told you that there are 5 types of query languages, yeah, different categories. So one was the data query language, which is the select statement. So now I'll be using the select statement. So if I want to select everything from this employee table, whatever is there in the employee table, I have to write select star. Star everything. Okay? From which table I want to see? From the employee table. So click here. So that means what? Select star from employee. That means I want to select everything. Select means nothing, to show actually. Okay. Select is nothing, but take select word as to show. That means show everything. Everything means star. From which table? Employee table. Okay, that's it. So when I click on this, run this particular statement, click on execute, you can see that whatever column names I have mentioned in my this employee table, all these column names have been seen now. ID, name, salary, age, gender, department, right? Now, my second task is to enter data inside it. Yeah, because without entering the data inside it, I cannot fetch the data from this database, right? So for that, I have to use a new query, which is known as insert into. Insert into means what? I'm inserting data inside this employee table. Okay, so to insert the values, I have to write insert. Okay, then into what? The table name, which table I want to insert inside this employee table. And then I have to write values because I want to enter the values inside it, right? That's it. And then I'll continue from here. So this is my command, which is insert into employee values. That means I want to insert into the employee table the values, which is like this, as follows. That means I have to insert the values in such a way, the way I have written accordingly my column names. That is, first I have to insert the ID, then name, salary, age, department, gender and department. Okay. So first, let's say I'm taking the ID. Let's say 1. I'm just taking it. Okay. So this is, as I told you, there are two ways of writing your data. One is to write it manually and one is to import it from your system. Okay. So first thing, I'll show you manually how to write it, and then I'll show you how to import it from your local system. Okay. Insert into employee values. Okay. Then the first one is 1 because ID is 1. Then name, let's say I'm taking any name. Let's say A I'm taking. Okay. And let's say the salary is 90,000. And age is suppose 23. And gender is male. So one thing again to keep in your mind is what? When you write any string means what? Anything related to text, anything related to alphabets. So that thing should be written within single inverted, okay? Not double inverted, because SQL Server only understands text within single inverted. If you write double inverted, it will show you error. That's why I have written A within single inverted, male within single inverted, okay? And then it's asking me for the department. So department is also a text. I'll write it in single inverted, and let me name the department as operations, okay? And that's it. After this, when it happened, I'll just close this and I'll just click on this semicolon and first entry. I'll select this and I'll click on execute. Okay, so it's showing one row affected. One row affected means one row has been entered inside that employee table. Now, how I have to see that? Again, I can run the same thing, select star from employee. That means last time when I have run this, it was showing me all the column names. But now I have entered one particular row also, right? So I can see that using the same query. I'll just select this and again click on execute. You can see the first details of the first employee covered successfully in the employee table. Yeah. Similarly, I can go for the next set of entries that I want to add. It's up to me how many entries I want to make out of it. Okay. So it depends on me. Let's say I'm taking again 2 more things. You can simply copy this. As you copy and paste it for rest of the things, you can do this for here also. Okay? The same Control C and Control V you can do. Yeah, you don't have to write these things again and again. Only the values you can change. Okay. So let's say I'm taking the second entry, which is 2. I'm writing here as B. And here I'm putting, let's say, a different entity, let's say 85,000. And let's take it as female. And let me name this department as it says. Okay. Now again, if I have to insert this particular entry in my table, I'll select this and click on execute. So you can see again one row is affected. If I again have to see how this thing is inserted in my employee table, I simply click on this select star from employee select, this click and execute. You can see now 2 entries has been made inside this table. Yeah, like this we can make our tables and we can also enter the data inside the table. Okay, so this is one form of entering data inside the database, which is manually. Another way is just to import it from your system. Okay, how to do that? Let's say I'm creating another database. We can also create database using this from this order itself. Okay, let's say in this database I go, I'll right this database. Sorry, I'll right click this database. Okay, click on this new database. And here, let me name this database as, let's say, first sample. Let's just keep it as like this, just a name, random name, okay? Nothing related to anything. It's just a database that I've created. Just right click this database, yeah, new database. Just mention the name of a database that you want to create. This is my another database I've created. And inside it, I want to import any file that I have inside my local system and upload it here in my this database, okay? So I can simply go here. Again, I'll right click this database that I've just created. And there we have a thing called task. In this task, if I go at down, you can see there's a thing called import data. Yeah, because I want to import this data from here. So I click on this import data. So this particular thing will come here. I hope it's visible to everyone. Is the new screen visible for everyone?
Yes.
This welcome to SQL Server import, this thing is visible?
No, it's visible till the SSMS
I think it's
layout.
all right.
Yeah, exactly.
Okay, fine. So just let me do one thing. I'll just share the screen in another way. Let me just. I think now it will be visible. So I'm again right clicking this for sample database. I'm right clicking here, going to this task, and in this task, I'm clicking on this input data. Okay.
No, it's still not visible to us.
Okay, just hold on. Now is it visible, I suppose?
Are you on the screen? We can see the SQL Server import and export wizard thing.
Yeah. This is what I exactly wanted to show you all. I hope it's visible now. So
Yes.
yeah. So what I was doing is once if I have to import any particular file and import in this particular database that I've just created, I just have to right click on the database, click on that import task and then import file. I'll be getting this particular wizard box. Here I have to click on next. Okay. And here it's asking me for the data source that I want to. Okay. So here I have to select what data source I want. It's an Excel store. So I'll go for Microsoft Excel. And here it's asking me for the Excel file path. So where the file is there, I have to mention that. So I'll just have to go here in the browse. And there I have this data. I click on this data and I click on open. So you can see this Superstore data has been come here, and also the Excel version of it is shown here. Again, I click on next. Okay, and now the destination is asking where I actually want to show this particular file. So the destination will be the SQL client that I'm using right now, which is, if you go exactly down, you can see the SQL client that you're using, which is SQL Server Native Client 11.0. This is mine. Same will be yours also. So you have to click on this. This is a destination. And then you just have to click on next again. And now it's asking you to copy data from one or more tables or views, or write a query to specify the data to transfer. So I don't have to write the query. I just have to just copy the whole data all at once to my database. So I have to select the first option and I click on next. And now it's asking me, because in that particular file, we have 4 sheets, okay? So if I want all the 4 sheets or any of the sheets that I want, it's up to me. So let's say I want the first sheet also, and the second, the third sheet and fourth sheet. The second sheet is almost a replica of the first sheet. So I don't need this. So I'm just selected the first thing, third one, and the fourth one, okay? These 3 sheets I want from the Excel file. And then I click on again next. And now I'll run it immediately. I don't have to do anything else because I want to run it immediately. I'll click on next again. And then I'll click on finish. Okay, so you can see all the status of all the steps has been run successfully. You can see all are the success rate. All have been done. So it has imported around 9,994 rows. Okay, so that's it. And now I have to just close it. And now again, if I click on this refresh button, yeah, so you can see in this first sample database, if I click on this plus symbol and click on this tables, you can see I have got all the 3 sheets that I have chosen from that file, yeah, orders, people, and returns. So if I have to see these 3 tables here that I have imported, first I have to use this database, right, as I have done in the first case, because this database is different from the one that we are using now, right? So I have to use that database. So that means this database is already created, so I don't have to create this database. I have to simply use this database, which is used for sample. Okay, that's it. So you just have to select this and click on execute. So this is successfully done. So now this particular first sample database is in action now. Okay, and now if I have to see this orders table from here, what can I do? I can just use the same thing, this particular query, yeah, select star from orders, yeah, that's it. And when I just select all this thing together and click on execute, you can see all the data that I have imported from that Excel file will be seen here. You can also scroll this a bit up if you want to see a bit longer. So you can see all the Excel data that I have inside this Superstore data, you can see here already. Okay, so these are 2 ways of writing your data. One is to manually write it, yeah, or one is to just import it. Okay, creating on the similar database also you can do, or you can do it in a new database also. But I'm just showing you how to create a new database and do it all at once. This is all about for today. And next session will be a very technical part of SQL, where again we will go for the next set of advanced queries, or more advanced queries than the ones that we have done today. Yeah, so I hope you all have enjoyed the session. So now we can go for the Q&A rounds. Yeah, okay, so if I start from the first one, Arya, so textbooks for starting SQL as a beginner. Basically, we generally go for ebooks nowadays. Textbooks, I generally don't use textbooks, but yeah, one thing I can say, you can try for, there is a site called W3 Schools where you can go for SQL studies or any other studies that you can go. Very short conceptual things are written there, so you can get the concepts from there. You can try out some practices also from there, or else analytics Vidhya is also its kind. Yeah, you can take that help. So they have a very vast contents of SQL. You can go for it. Again, how many classes for this season? Okay, might be it'll be another for 1-2 classes extra. Yeah, Arijit. Pathik, I've answered your query almost that time. And Sibi, can you tell me the difference between default and check? Okay, so default means nothing, but default is kind of a thing like whenever we miss out some data, okay, inside that default, inside a column where we have made the default constraint, then if you miss out some data and when we specify some default values, let's say I'm putting some default value as say in the department, I have made default as sales. So whenever I'm writing the department values inside the department column, yeah, if I miss any department name to enter, then immediately that default name that is sales will be entered inside it. Okay. And check means what? Let's say, suppose I want to enter only those, 1 second, huh? Again, my connection is going up and down. I don't know why. Okay, let me just share the screen. Yeah, so what I was telling, yeah. So Sibi, yeah, and the next question is regarding a check. Check is nothing, but check is a constraint where you can, get some limit. Limit is what? Suppose in the salary, you want to make a check constraint, and the check constraint should have like only those salary and enter which is within. So if we enter any salary which is less than 10,000 will not be entered inside the salary column. Okay, that is the difference. Okay, Sagar. Yeah, we can give unique for multiple columns also. Not necessary we can give it for one column. Any constraint we can give it to multiple columns. Yeah, wherever we want to. After not using these 4 years, what is the best way for refreshing my skills to apply for data science roles? Okay. See, for applying for data science roles, first you have to gather the knowledge of all the skills that you require for getting for data science roles. Like as I told you, Python, SQL, Excel, advanced Excel, and some knowledge of Google Sheets, and any of the BI tools like Tableau or Power BI, any of one. Okay, those things are very compulsory for getting into data science roles or data analyst roles. So you have to gain the knowledge of all these things first, then you can apply for this data science roles. Okay, so kindly make sure you know all of these 4 skills at least. Okay, before applying, then you can start applying on LinkedIn, on Naukri, anywhere you want to, you'll be getting it. Okay, Mir, you're a fresher. How can I take this language? Okay, if you're a fresher, no issues. As I told you just now, that these 4 skills are mandatory. You have to learn for it, and if you learn it, then you're good to go with applying for these jobs. Okay, but these are the mandatory skills you have to know. Okay. Ashwin, how much time period is required to learn effectively to learn SQL? Okay, Ashwin, there is no some particular time limit, but yeah, I can say that if you go on a dedicated way, so you can complete it within 1 month also. Sometimes it takes 1.5 months also, but it depends on person to person. I can't say like this, but yeah, basically 1 to 1.5 months. Yeah, if you do it regularly on a regular basis. Okay, can we use pandas as option for SQL, and what's the difference between SQL and Panda SQL? So Panda SQL is basically used to connect SQL and Python. Okay, inside Python platform, if we want to use SQL, we can use that. But SQL is independently SQL language only. But Panda SQL is used when we use Python with SQL together. Okay, Brian, I didn't get you. Can she repeat deep? Okay, just if you can tell me your query once more. I didn't get it that much. okay, Ashwin, how much data size we can import within the table. So it's not that we can import any some kind of limited data size. It can be of any data size, yeah. So SQL has a has a facilitating power of facilitating any sort of data size. Yeah, there is no any much that particular constraint is required that only that much of data is can only be imported. There's nothing as such. Okay. Okay. When we'll have the second session. The second session, Arijit might be. I think you'll be getting informed. I think by next this following Tuesday. Okay. Ravindra, is it necessary to use after creating a table? So after creating a table, you don't have to use is only used to while we have to use a database. Whenever we create a database, if we have to use it, then only we can make the tables out of it, right? So to use a database, we use that word use. Okay. And is there any limitations for importing the data? That's what I said. There is no particular limitations for importing data. You can import n number of size of data, okay? Because it gives you a flexibility in SQL Server Management Studio. Can we connect SQL Server to GitHub? If yes, how we can? Okay, I'll tell you in the next class. Definitely, I'll show you that also using GitHub. And can you send installation link here? Yes, definitely. I'll be sending the installation link here. How to remove the specific entry in it. Now, Shar, all these things I will tell you in the next class because today the class has already. But yeah, all these things I'll be telling you in the next class itself. There will be an advanced, more an advanced level of queries for the next class. Okay. So I hope I have answered all of your queries as of now. So today the class has ended, and I'll be sending you the attachment here so that all of you all can get the installation link. Let me just try. Anything? Okay, anybody, anything? Just for a minute, let me make the attachment. Okay, anybody else have any questions you can ask me here? Okay, in data science, Python itself is used to create database. Yeah, in Python, there's a different scenario Santa altogether. Okay, Python is a different programming language altogether. So that is Python and SQL can be connected together, but SQL is a different programming language and Python is a different programming language. So is SQL query run every time in the backend when we do search at any website? Yes. So the website queries are basically made of SQL and HTML also because website is also created using HTML language. So we can use that. Varchar 20 means word length of 20 or other meaning. So Devendra, Varchar 20 means we are, giving 20 size of value. Yeah. Like we are giving 20 size. Okay, we are giving 20 size to the Varchar. Okay. So we're giving name Varchar 20. That means we are giving that name column 20 size in the database so that any name that is inserted later on also or any name that gets changed can take up to 20 size data. Okay. Size in bytes. Yeah, Manoj? Okay. Just a minute. I'm trying to do this.
So I think we are done with all the queries.
Yeah.
So till the moment you are sharing the attachment file, I will be sharing polls and link for your LinkedIn profile. Is that fine? Am I audible, Dipta?
Yes, yes.
Yeah, sure.
Yes, you can provide in the LinkedIn profile also.
Yeah.
Arvind, Sorry, Arvind gave me a message. So yeah, Arvind, I have given you my answer. Okay. Um. Okay. Okay. Anonymous attendee. We can't see the speaker. Okay. I don't really prefer to show myself that much. Textbooks for starting as a beginner. So, Arya, textbooks, I generally, as I said, I don't prefer the textbooks. I've never done that for SQL, but yeah, as I told you, W3 Schools is one website where we can go and just check out the type of concepts that we can know from there. Very short and comprehensive concepts are there, so you can learn it from there, or else Analytics Vidhya is already there to help you out. Yeah, they have very good contents. And okay. Okay, okay. Okay, so I've answered all of your questions. It seems it's done. So, okay.
So yeah, is that done? That's it.
Yes, I suppose. There are questions coming. Next class is next Tuesday. I think so. Yeah, the link installation I'll be sending right now. So most use SQL Server. Yes, I mean, if you know SQL Server, you can immediately go for MySQL also, because every MySQL and SQL Server is almost same. 95% is same. Some keywords are different here and there. But if you know SQL Server, that's the main actually. And MySQL is just a subset of SQL Server. Okay. Um. Okay. Shresh, I'm not being able to attach the thing here on the chat. So can I just send it to you? Can you send it to them? Is there any other option like that?
So yeah, that's it for today, guys. Thanks a lot, Udipta, on behalf of Analytics Vidya, and I would like to thank you for your time and for delivering such a wonderful session. And I'm sure our audience found it insightful, and hopefully we can conduct more such sessions with you in the future. And guys, I will be sharing a feedback poll with you guys, and I would like to request you to please participate in the poll as it helps us to conduct more such sessions. So do participate in that.
Yeah, thank you, Manoj, for his comments. Thank you, everybody, for joining here. And I hope you all have got at least some knowledge of it. And it will be helpful for you all for the next session when it comes. So you will be aware how to at least import your kind of, files that you want to, or else whatever. Okay. Or you can create yourself manually also. It's up to you. And this is all about okay for today. But the next session will be a slighter advanced level. We'll move a slighter advanced level of it, where we'll be playing with the data that we have fetched into, yeah, with the data manipulation languages. So thanks all of you for your time, and it was great talking to you all. It was great interacting to you all. Yeah.
You guys can find the link for upcoming sessions on our website. I just forwarded that on chat section. Do check that out. And even for follow-up session for this session, you will get updates there itself. So do check it out. And yeah, I will be sharing link for Udipta's LinkedIn profile. Just a second.
So I'll be sharing the installation guide to you all very positively by today. Okay. So yes, Dorin, and thanks, Arvind. And yeah, thanks everybody for these comments. So we'll really love to see you all in the next session. Yeah, which should be happening very soon. And by that time, you'll be getting all the materials that's needed. Also, I'll be sharing the file that I have imported today so that you can also try based on that file, and also the installation guide. So the team will be dispatching those things to you all. Okay. Thank you so much.
The follow-up session will be probably on next week, or if not, you guys can get updates from the website itself. I just shared the links for the same in chat section, and link for Udipta's LinkedIn profile is here. Here it is in the chat section itself. So we will be back with another session of the Data Hour on 10th of August. The link is in the chat section. And till then, bye-bye and keep learning.
Yeah, bye-bye and take care and keep learning always. Thank you, guys.